And we were talking about, is this really a magic marker, or is it a grouping of little bits of energy? Because when I say some of these things, I use the standard language that is used in physics, but then we know that these things are not actually the reality. When I say that when two photons collide, they create a particle, among other things, such as a photon or an electron, they don't actually create a particle at all. There is no such thing as any particles. A particle would be a little bit of matter, a little bit of stuff. There is no little bit of stuff there. In this hydrogen atom, there is, in the center, a little pool of energy moving very fast, maybe .9 the speed of light, with an electron in some sort of shape around it, not an orbit, but traveling probably 0.3 the speed of light. Each of these are still little bits of energy. They are not little bits of stuff. To give an idea, in a hydrogen atom like this, we have the proton in the middle and the electron out here. To give an idea how little bit of, or how empty this is, this proton in the center, equivalent to the electron cloud that where the electron goes, would be somewhat similar to a soccer ball in a soccer stadium. So, I mean, if you imagine what a tiny bit of room a soccer ball takes in a whole soccer stadium, this is about how much empty space there is there. But we see these things as solid, right? And this is the reason we don't walk through walls. We consider walls to be solid, although they are 99.99999% empty stuff. But even this, see, so I say we can look at it like this, like it is a whiteboard marker. Then we can go to another level and say it is not really a whiteboard marker, it is a grouping of protons and electrons. But I want to read something out of this this book here, talking about another level of looking at this. Because to believe this is a whiteboard marker is one level of perception. To believe that it is a grouping of subatomic particles is another level of perception. Both of them essentially provable. Then we go to another level. What is wrong with our view of reality? The effect of the incorrect view of reality is in every aspect of our lives, our beliefs, and our institutions. The basis of that error is the belief that the universe is a mechanical system made up of separate objects which in turn can be reduced to fundamental building blocks. So here we have a separate object. And we say that if we want to, we can reduce it to fundamental material building blocks, subatomic particles. That all sounds quite reasonable. Each thing in the universe is separate from all things around it. All those separate things are made up of several basic particles, electrons, protons, and neutrons. All the different material objects and elementary particles which make up those objects work according to fundamental laws. Those laws determine everything the universe does. Sure, that sounds reasonable. It wouldn't have been so widely believed if it didn't seem obviously true. What then does quantum physics and relativity tell us that is so different from this view? That the universe is one indivisible dynamic whole, whose parts are inextricably interrelated and can only be understood as fluid patterns of a cosmic process. So now we are saying, not only is the marker not a marker, not only is it not made up of a whole lot of particles grouped together, but what it really is part of one totally combined energy field, a field of energy that is all of material existence. And within this energy field, there are places of greater and lesser density. And where you have a particle is a place of greater density. And where you don't have a particle, it is a place of lesser density. So there are no parts, only the whole. Everything we see as a separate object is actually connected to every other thing. All of those things which appear to us as objects are actually vibrating patterns of energy. The so-called particles, which we believe made up those objects, are not little bits of physical material, but would be better thought of as places within the fabric of existence where the energy fields are more intense. So this is like 3 levels we can look at already. Of course, in Islam, in some religions, I think particularly the Hindu faiths, they would support a view of considering all of this, considering this marker to be an illusion, and try and break free from that illusion. In Islam, we are supposed to accept the perception of reality that we see as the reality that we have to deal with. And Allah has set up the world that way. Just a couple of other things, if I could mention here. These among the qualities that when Allah creates particles of matter through light and puts certain potential in, one of the things that the matter does is it is in motion. Matter has to be in motion to exist in the physical world. The motion of matter in the physical world is actually what at the level of biological and human life we would call being alive. That essentially the whole cosmos is alive. It has, every bit of matter has a quality of life. It has the quality of life within it. The quality of life is the fact that it is in motion. And as it goes through the various stages from subatomic particle to atom to molecule to biological life, that characteristic gets expressed more and more perfectly. Same thing is true with consciousness. You could define consciousness as the ability to perceive and react appropriately to the environment. And the subatomic particle will perceive and react appropriately to the environment. Just as an atom will and a molecule will and biological life will to some degree. But then you get to a human being, of course, and then we may have to define differently as to whether or not a human being responds appropriately to the environment. We are supposed to respond appropriately to the environment, but we are given the freedom not to. So I think I may have shown this before, but this is really what seems to be happening. So Allah creates light and breathes His Spirit into it. And then Allah takes that light and alters its characteristic, dropping it out of the spirit world into the physical world. And it comes into existence with a potential.